Hi y'all, I'm Amber and this is the first weekly wrap-up of February. I was able to finish 2 books and I am almost done with the third. The first book that I finished this week is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This book is about Amir who's coming of age during the last peaceful days of the monarch in Afghanistan. And in a flash, his life is changed by one act of cruelty. This is such a beautifully written book. It has such an emotional impact and punch to it. Every word that is written here has such emotion behind it, and it's a very heavy read, so just be cautious of that. I loved this book. It made me feel so many things, and the story was wonderfully told. The transition from present to past and back to present was done in such a fashion that it was so smooth that there was not a moment where I was taken out of the reading during those transitions. I love his writing style, and I feel that Khaled Hosseini is an author that I will be watching out for more of his stuff. I know that he has at least 2 other books that he's written out, and I will definitely be reading those in the near future. Amir is a very complicated person, and I found myself struggling with him, and not in a bad way, but in a really good way, because Hosseini creates a very complex character who struggles with his own goodness and badness. And I absolutely loved that. Now I am going to go into a little spoilery. I will put up a sign at the end, so if you have not watched this, put it on mute so you can come back after I am finished with that. So now on to the spoilery part. When Amir witnesses Hassan's rape and doesn't do anything, his whole life is changed. Hassan is Zara and Amir is Pashtu, and I knew that it was just natural that Amir would see things in the way he did, seeing himself above Hassan. That's just because of the society that he grew up in. It was just the way he grew up as. But I thought it would change. I realized it hadn't when he visits Rahim Khan and he asks him to take in Sorab, Hassan's son. I realized then that he still saw himself as above Hassan, and even though he felt guilt and shame, he was wrestled with it. He was able to push it to the back of his mind because he is Hassara and he's above him because he's a Pashtu. And so I felt myself getting really angry with him in that moment. Then he finds out that Hassan is his half-brother, and that changes everything, which really frustrates me because why should that change anything? You know, it should have mattered that he was Hassara in the first place, and I thought that would have changed, but apparently it didn't. And the fact that he's your half-brother changes everything. I'm not really sure that should make you feel any better, and it didn't really make you feel better, but at the same time I felt like he now felt obligated because he was his half-brother, and I feel like that shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have had to feel obligation. He should have felt that he owed him, not because he's his half-brother, but because of what he did or didn't do in that moment when Hassan was being raped. So does all the actions that he is going to do in the future change how he sees Hassan? Does that redeem him in that way? And I think in the end he does. I appreciate the way Khaled Hosseini handled this part of the story. I also think that he did such an amazing job because he made me feel anger at Amir. He made me even feel for Amir at times, and I really think that is a sign of a great author. Now you can come back to me, all those who haven't read this book. I overall really loved this book. It's gripping, it's emotional, it's powerful. It's a definite must read to anybody who hasn't read this book, and this book gets 5 stars from me. The last book that I was able to finish this week is The House on Mango Street by CISNERO'S. It is written in a series of vignettes about a young girl named Esperanza, who is a Latina girl living in Chicago, and her family have just moved on to Mango Street. Overall, I think the only thing that I really loved about this book was Sandra Cisneros' writing. It's so beautiful and poignant. If she had written a book that was more detailed, more thicker, went deeper into the actual story that she was telling, I would have loved this book more because of that. I feel at times she brushed over things that should have been put more time on. I really didn't feel the emotional impact for most of the book there, but overall this book was a huge disappointment to me, because frustrating to me, because when authors brush on subjects that I feel should be gone deeper into and they don't, for whatever reason, I really feel that is a mistake, and I felt that she should have, especially because we never really find out how it affects Esperanza. It was a lackluster read that didn't have enough depth for me. I love detail. I love when an author goes into depth with whatever they're writing about, and this book was just not long enough. It just didn't have enough for me to feel like it was worth a lot of my time. I enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be looking to see if Sandra Cisneros has written more books, hopefully more thicker books than this, and this one gets only 2 stars from me. The third book that I have been working on this past week and hopefully will be finished by Monday is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in a trilogy/series. This is about Kelsier and Vanna, who are trying to overthrow the Final Empire and rid this world of the Lord Ruler, who has become a huge tyrant and menace to the people of this empire. I am absolutely loving it. I only have about 200 pages left, so I definitely feel like I will be done by Monday, and you'll be seeing a review of this book next Saturday. That's all the books that I read this past week. Tell me down below if you've read any of these. Do you agree or disagree with anything that I have said here? I would like to have a discussion with you on that. What books have you been reading yourself this past week? I would love to know. Thank you all for watching, and keep warm.